The Department of Public Works and Highways and the Independent Commission for Infrastructure recommend the filing of plunder and other charges against former House Speaker Martin Romualdez and former Acol Bicol Representative Sal Dico. Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon and other ICI officials submit their joint referral report containing recommendations to the Office of the Ombudsman on Friday morning, November 21. In a short briefing following the referral, Dizon details the recommended charges against Romualdez and Co.
Violation of Republic Act 7080 or an act defining and penalizing the crime of plunder. Letter B. Violations of Section 3A, B, and E and H of Republic Act 3019 or the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. And finally, violation of Article 210 of the Revised Penal Code on direct bribery.
According to Dizon, the joint referral contains contracts of Sunwest Incorporated and Hightone Construction from 2016 to 2025. It also contains the sworn testimonies of retired Sergeant Orly Guteza in relation to Romualdez and Co. during one of the hearings of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. The referral comes after President Bongbong Marcos announced that cases against Romualdez and Co. are already underway in relation to an alleged corruption mess. Marcos said that once all evidence is consolidated, complaints for plunder, violations of the anti-graft law, or indirect bribery may be filed against the two lawmakers.
Malakas naman ang loob natin na yung ombudsman, ang ginagawa lamang ay sumusunod sa ebidensya. At kung saan tayo dinadala ng ebidensya, doon pupunta ang ating investigasyon.
On Tuesday, November 18, the Ombudsman filed 2 counts of graft and a malversation charge against Co. over serious irregularities in a 289.4 million peso road dike project in Oriental Mindoro. Also named in the complaint were several former DPWH officials and an executive of Sunwest Construction. The Ombudsman's panel of prosecutors recommended no bail for the malversation charge, citing that it involved an amount exceeding the 8.8 million peso threshold. The International Criminal Court's Appeals Chamber is scheduled to rule on former President Rodrigo Duterte's appeal against his continued detention on November 28. In a scheduling order dated November 20, the ICC indicates that it will deliver its judgment in open court at The Hague, Netherlands on November 28 at 10:30 a.m. local time. Duterte's legal team is challenging ICC Pretrial Chamber 1's ruling, which denied his appeal for interim release. The chamber said Duterte's detention remains necessary based on 3 grounds under the Rome Statute. These are to ensure Duterte's appearance at trial, to prevent him from obstructing in the investigation of proceedings, and to stop the potential commission of further crimes. Duterte is facing 3 counts of murder as crimes against humanity over 49 killings during his administration's anti-drug campaign. Duterte's camp has argued that he is unfit to stand trial. The ICC took custody of Duterte after his arrest and transfer to The Hague in March. The anti-drug campaign, dubbed Oplan Tokhang, left at least 6,000 people dead, although human rights groups report at least 20,000 killings. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board reminds drivers and operators of public utility vehicles that the 20% fare discounts for students still applies even during holidays or class suspensions. The statement comes after the agency received complaints about PUV drivers who ignore Republic Act No. 11314. LTFRB Chair Vigor Mendoza II emphasizes that the law is very clear that students should be given discounts as long as they are enrolled in school. Section 4 of RA 11314 states that fare discounts shall be available during the entire period while the student is enrolled, including weekends and holidays. Mendoza reminds PUV drivers and operators to conduct themselves properly or otherwise face penalties such as fines or even the loss of their franchise. The LTFRB notes that drivers may have their licenses suspended for 3 months on top of being fined 1,000 pesos for not honoring the fare discount. On the other hand, operators may have their certificate of public convenience revoked and pay a maximum fine of 15,000 pesos for the offense. Mendoza urges students as well as senior citizens and persons with disabilities to file a complaint with the LTFRB if a PUV driver or operator does not give them a discount. He vows that the LTFRB will take care of such cases as long as citizens report and properly document the incident.